Hey everybody. All right, now that I'm on here, I'm gonna make sure this I got my better camera out today. Um but I really am comfortable sitting right where I'm at. Like I have oh, hi, I'm Oracle. I just start rambling. Um Welcome to my channel. Thanks so much for being here. Um I have so what I was saying was I have all of these different places in my house. Ooh, see, I might have to go to one of my places. I might get the whole thing. I have all these different places in my house that I can set this up, and it could be all cinematic and beautiful. But there's something about sitting in my bed that makes me more comfortable doing this work. This is where I meditate, and it is where I pray and do a lot of things. This particular spot in my bed, so I don't know if it's like, okay, I just got a good Jones in going on. I got a good vibe in this spot, but in this spot, I am able to be my most authentic and share from my heart. And I think that you all really deserve that from me. Let's see if it's gonna fall. I may just have to keep my hand here so that we can talk. I don't mind. But thank you for joining. I'm Oracle Smith. I am a self mastery coach and public speaker. I am here to talk about what is going on and what's to come. And I want to talk about what's to come way more than I want to talk about what's going on, because what's going on is already here. It already has happened. It's already going on. And so if I can talk about what's to come, then I think it may even be more worth your while than to talk about what's, already transpiring. Um, do know that I work with all 10 of my senses. I believe that we all have 10 senses, um, five of which we know are required for, or not required, but optimal for a human life. But there are five senses that are clear senses or clair senses that we're all born with that we're not taught about at the same rate that we're taught about our five senses that are directly connected to how the human body works, right? So I want to talk about, I like to talk about more of the five senses that are correlated to how our spiritual body works, and enlighten us to be able to, be whole. I think when we talk about being whole, that's part of it. Part of being whole is being in tune with these senses. Now, a lot of people are in tune with these senses, and they still don't know that's what it is. They don't know that, oh, I have activated, my clear sentience, and my gut is always right. Right. Well, yeah, you have clear feeling, which is clear sentience. And if you, really quicken and aliven and awaken that, you don't have to call it clear sentience for it to be what it is. I'm just using the words that have been defined so that it's a Googleable conversation, right? But ultimately, there's a lot of people who are living with these senses completely interacting with their daily lives, and they're benefiting from that. They're benefiting from having the connection with their higher self, with their divine self, with their Christ self, with their soul and spirit, and the senses that come with being a soul or spirit. So, I truly think, as I said in my last video, that we are going to need all 10 of our senses going into this next positioning, right? Going into this next season of life. Your hearing will need the aid of your clear audience, your mundane hearing, the hearing with your ears and with the mechanisms of your body, are going to also need that clairaudient feature that you come with, that can hear frequency and that can interpret, what you're pulling in, and what's happening with yourself. You're going to need that ability to also hear clearly. Like in the Bible, Jesus said, that have eyes to hear, clairvoyance. Those that have ears to hear, clairaudient, do that. If you can hear. If you can see. And he was pointing to these spiritual senses. So, right now, in this time of change that we're in, it's very, very important that we also begin to point at what is special about us: clear feeling, clear knowing, clear vision, clear hearing, as well as for being able to understand and interpret the next person's needs by understanding and interpret the next person's thoughts, which is telepathy, right? So there's five senses other than the five senses that we know that are human physicality based senses, right? Your eardrums have to be good in order for that hearing to work. Your eyeballs have to be in good, space in order to be able to see them. You have to have meridians and energy centers and sensation and stimulus throughout your body connected to your brain in order to be able to feel anything. You have to have what's the other one? Audience, voyance, feeling. I gotta go through them all the time. Oh, and clear knowing. People call it intuition, right? Which I think all of the clairs are intuitive senses. I think that clairvoyance, clairaudience, and all of it works together to give you a sense of your intuition. But plugging into that clear knowing it's just trust. It's like, I know what I know that I know. Like, I know that I'm a knowing thing. I know that I can feel the energy in this room through this sense and have a knowing about that and be clear on that. I know which way I'm supposed to go. I know what I'm supposed to do. And, start being obedient to that. Start actually owning, okay, I have these five other senses that are at play. Let me pay attention to my life, right? People say that when they start seeing numbers, right? In the new age awakening era, people are like, oh, I'm seeing numbers, let me leave Christ behind and let me go, become this new awakening person, right? Let me leave now that I'm seeing double digits and I'm seeing 222 and 111. I'm seeing all of this. What does that mean? And then you go and you research what it means, and it's like, oh, the angels, and oh, you're awakening, and all of this. And then you go into the rabbit hole. When really, I believe that yes, you are awakening, but you are awakening to the fact that you have clear seeing and that you have clear knowing, and you're tying yourself into a higher, level of the matrix that we're in and plugging into new frequencies. You're rising, you're evolving, right? People talk about also increasing your energy, raising your vibration. Well, there are times in our life that our astrology, our system, the time cosmically, collectively, our system, and then individually, micro, macro happens, and you just evolve. Like, it's your turn, it's your time to grow, and you just do it, right? So with that being the case for so many people, we can use that and know that, okay, everyone's growing, everyone's evolving. This is happening all around me. Again, I am a spiritual lover of Christ. I am not a Christian. I do not claim religion. I am a spiritual lover of Christ. I know Jesus for myself. I understand Jesus. Jesus is my teacher, my leader. Jesus is my example. He's my best friend. I am a fan, right? So with that, I don't subscribe to religion because there's so much boundaries around religion, and Jesus is not a bounded spirit, never was, never will be, and there's nothing that we can do, nothing that we can read, nothing that we can say that could ever frame Jesus, right? We can frame Jesus and end up manipulating ourselves. We can frame Jesus and put boundaries around Jesus and end up separating ourselves from our brother. We can do all of those things, in judgment and safety and wanting to be right. But ultimately, there is no boundaries. There is no limits to Jesus's love, and his teachings are not the teachings that, sometimes are made in his name. Therefore, this is not something that's coming from a place of separation from Jesus. This is not something coming from a place of separating from anybody, whether it be a being or whether it be the Son of God or whether it be any of the people that I am around. Right? So please understand that you fit in here. If you're here and you're watching this, no matter what you believe, Buddhist, Hindu, Christian, spiritualist as I am, no matter what you are claiming to be in this moment, I claim you as a sister or brother to me. The way you are, where you are, I claim you as a sister or brother to me. I know who you are. I know what you are. I know how you serve. One of my favorite things that I've read from Paul Selig in the book of Knowing and Worth. I know who I am. I know what I am. I know how I serve. And I know the same about you, because I cannot know myself if I do not choose to also give you what you need, in the knowing that I have this clear, cognizant experience that I have about knowing that you are wonderful. So as we raise our vibrations, sometimes we do it with intention, we do it with our thoughts, and other times it's just time to rise. And when those times come, sometimes they're activation periods for our spiritual senses. And people are like, oh man, this intuition keeps happening, these alignments, this synchronicity. What is this? It is you realizing that you have higher senses that are now active, and now you need to get to know them the same way you get to know your touch, taste, smell, feel, and see. The way that you have a relationship with those things, like no one can tell you when you open your eyes that you cannot see. No one can tell you that you cannot hear because you're listening to me. No one can tell you that you do not feel, because if you brush your arm right now and if you do it soft enough, you'll feel tingles all over your body. No one can say that you do not have clear knowing, because there are times when you're just like, I knew that was going to happen, right? Or, ooh, I thought about that. Or, man, I was just thinking about you when you called. And then there's telepathy, right? Which literally allows you to hear verbatim someone else's thoughts. And there's times when you're just like, you know what? I can feel something's not right. Well, it is because you know something isn't right. And with you knowing something isn't right, you have the ability to tune in to others. And then when you tune into others, you can hear their thoughts. So that when you get back with them, you're like, this. They're like, I was just thinking that. I know, because I was listening to your thoughts. Right? We do these things. We use these senses every day of our lives. So now it's just a point of you using the senses with wisdom, with knowledge, with you getting to know them, with you mastering them, and integrating them into your human reality of sensing, so that your hearing, seeing, taste, touch, and feel are elevated as well into a whole new experience and dimension, so that what you actually end up experiencing from these natural emerging currencies that are happening to you, you now see how you can live in a peaceful, in a joyful, and in a free life. So these are some of the things that I think I needed to share with you, because we're going through this pandemic called Miss Corona. And she is here as a part of this massive shift that we're going through. And although there is, people in the middle at play trying to control her, trying not to control her, controlling us in the meantime. This is recorded around the coronavirus pandemic, if you're watching this later. And it's very, very, interesting and difficult for people to navigate. And I just want to let you know that during this time of Corona, we're supposed to be focusing on releasing fear and putting love into our hearts, and using that love to create something. That's the entire thing that you could do best for yourself. Because if you don't, and it's like, oh, okay, we're good, coronavirus is over, and you walk out of the house and you go out your daily life, do you want to say that I was different? Do you want to say, oh, I'm the same person that I was when we started the coronavirus? If so, if you love yourself and you good to go, roll it, right? But if there is room to grow, if there is, missing pieces you feel to your life, if there is something else that you want to experience, and I say that you should plug into those five senses, make them available to yourself and to others, and then move on with yourself and others into the world in a way that changes the world for the better permanently. Every person is required to get their hands on deck right now, because God and Jesus need us. God and Jesus need us so that we can win the victory. And we are destined to win the victory. So we will win the victory. But part of that is that you and I will also be a player in that winning. That we won't just allow the players to be those that are creating things and not telling us about it. That we won't be working with creators that say, okay, well, we need this, this, and this. So if we dangle this, we can set it up where we get this, this, and this. Cut it. Right? We all have to contribute. We all have to get on the same page. We all have to um, connect and combine and become one with each other. We have to connect and combine and become one with each other. So I wanted to get on and just talk a little bit about that. Please leave me a comment. Let me know if there's anything else that I can do to help you. Again, I am a self mastery coach. I will get into the meat and the berries and the vegetables of your life. And we will make the best tossed salad with homemade vinaigrette out of you and who you are that we can, right? Because you are a mixture of things. You are a mixture of everything in your raw, in your best nature, right? And so in a little drizzle, it'll never hurt nobody. Right. So if I can help you in any way, send me an email. Let's talk about it. Otherwise, I am just thankful to have had 15 minutes, almost 16 minutes with you today. I am still planning on doing a series on the five senses individually. So clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, claircognizance, and telepathy. I do plan on doing a video that covers those things. But this was kind of like a follow up. This was just some things that were on my heart that I decided to make a video about. And if there's anything I can ever do to help you, please let me know. I am Oracle B. And until next time, take care.